Hey guys, I'm here with my new MSP. Now it's not mine. It's on loan from eWheels. Thanks again, Jason, for trusting me with these new wheels. It's always fun. Now this particular one just got back from New York City. Mickey had it. Mickey from EVX, his YouTube channel. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen his videos, and I love his the style of his videos. And by the way, I'm sporting his one of his apparel pieces from EV Wear, a hat. Thanks again, Mickey. I love hats. So I just want to give you a quick overview of some of my observations at this early stage. I'm not going to really have anything new to say from what a lot of people have already been commenting on. Just some observations. The shell is obviously essentially the same shell. All they've modified, as far as I can tell, are these three passive vents, which I'll see more about. We'll see more about that in a little bit to help it keep cooler. Otherwise, everything about the shell seems the same. This is my MSX. The original MSX from 84 volt from July of 2018, so I've had it about a year and a half. Ignore the nose piece, the bicycle seat, and these side pads. These are power pads from EUC guy, Matthias. So when I get my MSP, which I'm almost positive I'm going to get, hopefully I can get some new power pads for these guys. So these are big step up from the original crappy pads that Gotway put on before. They didn't fit properly. They tore. They were super thin. These are decent thickness. I don't think they provide enough squeezability factor when you want to really squeeze the wheel, like going up a hill, which I'll find out when I go up Overheat Hill. But definitely much higher quality pads, and the fit and finish on these pads, how they fit on the wheel, is so much better than those original ones. The pedals are the same, though they're black. They seem to be the same angle as my MSX pedals. Now I don't know, the wheels that Jason's going to be selling. If I were to bet, he's probably going to have his ship with the Nikola pedals, because he's been putting the Nikola pedals on his wheels, which I think is great. They're great pedals. But even if you were to get these pedals, I've always enjoyed my MSX pedals. But they're all black, which I like. This cutoff switch I think works great. I've only ridden this about half a mile maybe, and lifted up and down a few steps, and I don't know, for those purposes it works great, because I do tend to lift my wheels up and down stairs. I don't like to jump my wheels just because of the stress it puts on the axles, so I'm not a big jumper. So I do tend to pick up and carry the wheel up and down stairs and steps, so I think that's great. And it won't get in the way of my seat. I do have an MSX seat. I should put it on here to see if it does interfere with it. It does kind of look like it would. When you look directly at the tire, at the motor, on the MSX you can't see the motor, but here you can see the motor sticking out. So just with your eyes you can see it. It's a bigger motor. So that's cool. And this tire, I think I'm going to love the tire, because it's the same tire that's on the Nikola. I assume it's a bigger diameter tire. I'll have to measure it, but the same tread design. The tread actually looks beefier, probably because it's a bigger tire, meaning the tread is thicker, but the same design. And I think the Nikola tire is the best tire going on any UC I've ridden. I just love it's got a soft tire, and it just has a beautiful ride. So that's exciting. So I'm going to be taking this up. First major ride will be tomorrow. I'm going to go up into the mountains. I'm going to go up to about 6,000 feet with some guys, and it'll be a good feel for what its gas mileage is. But I'll be taking Overheat Hill, doing my formal range test, and we'll see how it goes. So right now, I'm going to take both of these wheels into the workshop, and I'm going to open them up side by side and let you and me see what's inside these wheels and see how they've changed in a year and a half, and what improvements, if any. Oh, and before I forget, I did want to say, when I was riding this a little bit, that the fans are definitely loud. I mean, if you're just kind of cruising at 8 miles an hour or something, you can hear the fans. You got to be kind of really moving before the fan noise disappears. So there's a lot of air circulating in this guy. But I'm kind of used to all the fans that Gotway's been using lately. It's not an issue with me. All right, let's see what these guys look like inside. All right, well, it's been a handful of hours since I was outside with these wheels. And I want to make a couple observations before I continue opening up these wheels. So it's dark outside, and I took this out for a spin in the total darkness. I was curious to test out the light. And oh my God, the light on this MSP is amazing. So I remember the days and the early wheels that all wheels had this anemic front light, just about almost worthless. I'll tell you guys, there's some kind of arms race going on with lights. So I think it was the Tesla that came out with the first evolution in the headlight. The first, okay, wow, this is a bright light. And this was probably 2.5 years ago, I'd say. And it was impressive, bright, not a really smooth light, but for the time it was impressive. And then I think the next step up from that, which came around later, and again, it might have taken a couple of years. Can't remember the exact time frame, but the InMotion V10, V10F, I think they both have the same headlights. Beautiful light, bright, really nicely evenly spread, gave a lot of wide light. That was the new light to beat. And then came some period later. Then came Kingsong with the 18XL and the 16X. And I can't recall if I think they both had the same identical light, but beautiful light. Took it to the next level above the V10F. Even brighter. Beautiful spread. Smooth light. I tell you, it's an arms race, guys. Now this thing. This light is amazing. I'm just blown away when I was riding it. It's variable intensity, but pretty much it kind of goes from low to bright. And I just can't get over it. I mean, I would have no problem riding at 25 miles an hour in total darkness with this light. It was just like lighting up the end of my street. Pretty wide, beautiful light, real smooth. None of these hot spots, which you see in the other, like the MSX and the other wheels. I tell you guys, it's an arms race. We're gonna start to have to wear sunglasses at night when we're riding the newer wheels. So really impressed with the headlight on this guy. So a couple problems with this early production wheel. So I think what Gotway does is they do the initial run of a low production run of wheels, and they send those out to the dealers while they then ramp up heavy production to be able to, e-wheels. I think they buy lots of like 50 of these, right? So So these can get out to people like me while they work on producing the wheels. So there were some problems. The pedal had a much higher dihedral angle. I think it was more like this, basically unrideable. So Mickey, thanks Mickey, he spent time, saved us a bunch of time by filing down the pedals so that they matched the MSX pedals. Again, I think that just, some of these wheels, the QA from Gotway, as us Gotway fans know, it's a bit lacking sometimes. So it's kind of a crapshoot. But again, if you buy from E-Wheels, you don't have to worry about, you'll be taken care of. And again, I'm pretty sure Jason's going to ship these with the Nikola pedals. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. So that's kind of a minor thing. The other thing is this has bad firmware. So some of you may know of a problem that occurred recently with the first batch of these 1860 watt-hour 100 volt wheels that Jason at E-Wheels had Gotway produced for him, but they were produced and sold to other people outside of E-Wheels too. And so he got this big batch in, and they were being sent out. And I happened to go to a ride in San Diego and met a couple guys who had these wheels. And as soon as I got on them, I said, "Whoa, something! We're not in Kansas anymore. Something's wrong with this." If you guys, any of you guys who aren't Gotway riders, you should know that when you ride a Gotway wheel in hard mode, the pedals in hard mode, it should feel like your feet are planted on granite, stuck to the earth. I mean, it's a rock. It's just a steady ride. There's no movement. Well, these wheels were it was pretty bad. It was actually, I think, unsafe. And one of the riders hadn't ridden any. That was his first Gotway wheel, so he didn't know. You don't have a reference point. And the other rider had ridden Gotway wheels, but he still just wasn't sure. I've ridden a lot of wheels, so I can tell instantly where there's a problem. So I confirmed it, and Jason ended up having to, on his dime, because Gotway can be a prick sometimes like this, excuse my language, where he basically, on his dime, he had to buy new control boards with the good firmware to fix the customer's wheels and the wheels before you sent them out. So this wheel has the same problem. It's not as bad. It's, I would say, maybe half as bad. I would be unhappy if this was my personal wheel, but fortunately it's rideable. It's rideable, and I don't feel unsafe. But just know that, and this is why I recommend people buying wheels from E-Wheels, because Jason's going to take care of you if there's an issue. If you buy from China, good luck getting your fix. They're just not. They're going to look at you like a deer in the headlights when you say, "Oh, I have bad firmware." And I'm not saying you have to buy from E-Wheels, but if you buy from another dealer, just make sure that they're reputable and they're going to really stand up behind their warranty, and that they know Gotway wheels. And if you tell them about a problem like this, they're not going to look at you with a stupid look on their face saying, what are you talking about? And you're going to have to fight them. Won't be the issue with E-Wheels. So anyway, I just want to give you a heads up that it looks like there's some potential issues with the firmware. But again, you can have confidence if you do buy the MSP from E-Wheels, you're going to end up with a good wheel in the long run. All right, let's talk more about some of the other details I've noticed here. Okay, as best I can tell, the basic shell on the MSP is the same as the MSX. What's different is the outside panels. This is clearly bigger, and I would estimate it about it changes, but about 1/4 of a degree deeper, this panel versus this panel. You can probably tell the relief here is different. It's deeper, and the thickness here versus here, it's deeper. And I assume that's for the larger batteries, which are in the MSP. But when I was riding it, I didn't feel anything, and didn't feel like it was a wider wheel to me. So I think that's a non-issue. These vents, which are real vents on the MSX, actually on this side they disappeared, and one of them's covered up. And this is a fake one, but these look real, like on here. And then they added these 3 over here. One of them's fake, but 2 are open. So apparently these are open on the inside. I'll see when I open it up to let air pass. Not sure how effective that is, but you know, that's a difference. And then again, we have these speakers. Now these are in the back, which I suppose is good, but as everyone's been saying, I don't think they're not going to break if your wheel falls, most likely. But if your wheel falls and you happens to hit some rocks over here or a branch that's sticking out, these are going to be toast. So probably not the wisest approach that Gotway took here. But I'm glad the MSX has speakers now. I like the speakers. And finally, the motor. I think you can clearly, hopefully in the video, see that this is just visually, you can see that this is a thicker motor compared to the MSX. So again, yet to know how that really manifests itself. I'm really hoping there's going to be a substantial improvement in torque, and I'll see that when I take it to Overheat Hill, probably next week. But it's just really clear that this motor is wider, and we're thinking it's kind of like the MCM5, which has these really wide magnets, and the MCM5 has killer torque. So I'm excited about that. And again, I'm really excited about this wheel. I just love the Nikola tire, and that this has the same tire. I think this wheel is really going to be a pleasure to ride. So let's open up these wheels. Okay, wheels are open. I saved you the drudgery of watching me remove the covers. Now I'm shooting this in 4K, so hopefully the resolution will be enough for you to see everything that I'm seeing. But there's not a dramatic difference between the two wheels inside. Again, mine's about 1.5 years old. Not a lot of dust in there. I have opened it at least once. This might look a bit messy in here because I did install a light mod from EUC guy, Matthias. So that's why that's busier in there. And of course, this is an 84 volt versus a 100 volt wheel. But they've definitely beefed up the power supply section versus the other 100 volt wheels here. This fan is definitely looks beefier than the fan on mine, and it's louder, of course. But this is funny. So I open this up, and there's a note in here from Mickey. Hey Marty, enjoy this EUC on Overheat Hill, and tell your viewers to sub to EVX. All right, Mickey. By the way, if you guys haven't sub to Mickey's channel, I'll put a link below to it. You should, because he puts out great content. And Mickey, why don't you tell your viewers to sub to my channel, huh? I'm going to leave this in here as a time capsule or whatever. Whoever may find this wheel down the road, they're going to open that and say, what is that? So yeah, it's interesting how they got that speaker module in there. It does look, it's very nice, self-enclosed. I mean, it definitely looks waterproof. more or less. I mean, they probably should have a gasket here to seal around the panel that fits over it. But and these are clearly rubber. They're not paper, fortunately. With Gotway, it wouldn't just surprise me if they'd put paper speakers in there. One other noticeable improvement is that the wires that feed from the charge port are now 18 gauge. On the MSX and other Gotway wheels, they're 20 gauge. And that's why I generally kind of don't like going over 4 amps when I fast charge my other wheels. I do sometimes go to 5 amps, but I just know it's really thin gauge. So here, probably just no problems pumping 5 amps into this guy if you have a fast charger. So hopefully they're incorporating the thicker gauge wire on their other wheels too. Other than that, you know, they changed the pillar screws are a bit different. They use hex screws now versus my Phillips on my wheel. But other than that, I would say typical Gotway inside. All right, let me seal these guys up again, and I'm going to put some slime in this tire because I'm going riding tomorrow in the mountains. Stick around if you want to see me put slime in here. I'll do it again, just some of you guys are unsure of the process. Hey, I almost forgot I was going to talk about the cooling vents, and plus I forgot to mention the gasketing material, which does not exist on my MSX. For waterproofing, it's pretty delicate, and it wants to pop out, so it could be tricky to install this and maintain it. But it's clearly better than nothing. Oh, and here's that gasketing material I was saying that they should have included for the speakers. So I take that back. Way to go, Gotway. So that is pretty good. So that's cool. Looks like the speakers really are waterproof. Now for this air channel, now I'm no aerodynamist. I'm not going to say that again, but I'm no scientist who studies airflow. But what they've done is, so there's the 2 holes on this side, and everything's sealed here except for right here it's open. So the air has to be flowing in here, has to flow down this channel, or in reality inside the wheel, and then here on the back side are the 2 openings for the air to exit. So it's better than nothing. And maybe with the fan blowing air in here, I don't know. It's these holes are so small, and anybody who's worked with air, with pushing the air through pipes, when you have bends in like that with constrictions in the airflow, it just really kills the movement of air. But it's better than nothing. I'll see if next couple weeks I'm going to be doing some riding, which will determine whether it tends to overheat. We'll see. Again, better than nothing. But I'm more impressed with the gaskets that they've applied for the speakers and the side panel. So now let's seal this up and put slime in it. All right, time to put slime in here. I do this on all my wheels I get before I really ride them seriously. There'll be links below for stuff I'm going to talk about here if you want to buy them. Now for you guys who, first of all, I'm going to use this core remover to get this the valve core out. I guess I can let out some of the air first. Now you guys that live in cities or do a lot of urban riding, you know, if you get a flat, you you just call a taxi and you get a ride home, right? But I do a lot of riding off-road in places where if I get a flat, I could be walking for 10 to 15 miles sometimes. And that you don't want to do. So here I've removed the core. If you were to lose this, no problem. You can go down to your automotive store, buy a pack of 4 for probably a few bucks. Easily replaced. So now all the air is out. But actually, even if you live in the city and you get a flat, and check my maintenance playlist. I have a lot of videos. I actually show slime repairing a tire real time. Because even if you don't need the slime to repair your tire if you get a flat, because you can take a taxi home, ultimately you got to fix the tire. These kind of are a pain in the butt to replace the tube. You know, it's it takes, you know, it's an hour, 2 hour job to do. It's just a pain in the butt. You have to take the wheel apart. Why not put slime in your tire and that'll fix the vast majority of your flats. So anyway, either you use it or you don't. But so I'm going to shake this up, shake it good. So I put, for tires like this, beefy tires like this, MSX 18-inch wheels, I put about 6 ounces roughly. And you know, it's not science, 5 to 6 ounces, something like that. For smaller wheels, 16-inch wheels, I put 4+ ounces. And for even smaller wheels, I'll put even less, you know, 3 ounces. So I just use a bright light to look through the bottle to see how much I have in here, and I have about 7 ounces. And I'm going to put 6 ounces, so it's going to be down around here when I'm done. So you just shake it up good. Put this over the valve, and then squeeze and put it in. I've heard people say that, oh, this affects the balance of your tire. I have a feeling people that say that, they put, and I know personally, I've seen it done, they put just a lot more slime than you should put in there. You know, they might put just a lot of slime in there, and yeah, then it might throw off the balance a little bit. So I'm almost done, just a little bit more. I think that's about it. That's it, guys. Pretty easy. Put the valve in. Now, sometimes there can be a problem, particularly initially when you put this in here. Slime can get in the valve core, and if after you've done this you find out that you're experiencing kind of a slow leak, you know, where a week later you'll notice that the pressure has gone down noticeably, just make sure the valve is tight, firmly tight, but just take the valve out and put a new one in. I had that happen recently on my ACM, since I replaced the tube. I replaced the core, and it's great. Works, holds pressure fine. So now I'll just put about 35 pounds in this guy, and I'm done. I bought this from Harbor Freight for like 10 bucks. It works great if you have an air compressor. double check your pressure. A little over 35. I think that'll be good. And that's it, slimed, ready to go. And when you're done, you can actually spin it up if you want to distribute the slime, but generally when you're riding the wheel, it'll get distributed fine. And we're good to go.